Hey, you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me, as always, is my party partner, Kevin Kenson. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. As people listening to this podcast are probably already aware, we had that new direct this morning, which is something we're going to be talking about. I already threw up my own video on it, but I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about some of the things we saw and, dive a little bit more in depth. I'm also happy because my Yeti order came in. So if you're watching the video version, I just show I got this new Vivi shirt on that's like a little kind of old school D&D cover art themed. And there's another one I have that's like, I don't think it's actually Vivi. I think it's just a generic black mage, but one riding a chocobo. It's good stuff. Actually, no, this is the generic black mage because the hat's not as fancy.
Yeah, that was the one I showed you, right? Where I was just like, hey,
Yep.
look at this.
And I was both thankful and angry at you for it because it was like, cool,
Yeah,
I'm buying two shirts right now.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
just
It looks great.
it
I'm
looks great.
very,
I'm very happy with it. I'm also now
yeah.
realizing I have way too many Square like specifically Final Fantasy shirts and like no other games. I have a lot of Final Fantasy shirts. I'm realizing,
Yeah,
which like,
it'd
hey,
be
it's a
like that.
formative series. It'd be like that.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
like that.
but yeah, overall, doing pretty good today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I what has happened recently? Um, I saw Fantastic Four, right?
Nice.
Because we saw each other. I went down for a wedding. You were kind enough to you and Christine were kind enough to drive me to and from Temecula, basically. Um, and then our whole plans to see Fantastic Four the day I was going to leave
Fell
completely out
apart.
the window because of traffic and stuff like and then
Yeah.
you had plans that got delayed but I went to go see it I think later the next night and then I also saw this indie movie called Oh Hi. It's an indie film with Logan Lerman, Geraldine Viswanathan, uh and you know how like people talk about Uncut Gems and like how anxious that movie makes them.
Yes.
That movie was my Uncut Gems because that
Like,
didn't really make me anxious, but like because it's a movie I did not know the premise of the movie going in.
sure.
I just watched it because I was like, I like these actors and I want to watch it. And so I go into this movie and it's very like, you know, not by the numbers, but it's going like, it's doing the thing. I'm like, where's the setup here? Like what's the thing that's gonna make me be like, oh shit, okay. And then when I find out what that thing is and like how these characters are like specifically the main character who's played by Molly Gordon um reacts to the information and just how that sets up the rest of the film, I was internally screaming, dude. I was like screaming so hard because it was just so uncomfortable. In a way that I think a lot of people felt about Uncut Gems.
Mhm.
Uh but it's still a really good movie. Really
Oh
good
yeah.
movie.
No, that
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if anything, that's a whole genre, right? Of movies that like it's excellent and you enjoy it, but you probably don't want to sit through it again. Like you're just like, this is art, and I enjoyed it. I'm good.
I no, it's like one of those things where I probably would watch it again just to see how other people would react to it because I'd just be
Right.
curious, like you know. But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Outside of that part two story thing, I was getting gaslit by the World Ends With You community on Twitter this week,
Okay.
where um so there's this streamer that I just like he kind of just came up on my For You page. Uh his name's like Spy something. And he's been playing through the Kingdom Hearts series. And he just absolutely fell in love. He's like, I gotta play more Square Enix stuff, I gotta play more Nomura stuff.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I want to play The World Ends With You. And I was just like, um, I told him like, play the DS version. Don't play the Switch version.
Yeah.
Uh, because that game was designed to be played on the DS.
Yeah.
And then there were people that were just like, don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah 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 blah. I'm like,
The,
did
I
we play the same game? Like
I
the
know there
game, like there, I know that there's new content. There's like new story content that like kind of ties into Neo. Not really. It really, it's not that big of a deal. And then there's like 30 new tracks. But outside of that, like it's not, it's not fun to play. Like it doesn't control well at
yeah.
all.
I do know there are some people that don't like the DS combat, like it's just too much. And so I think they thought the like Switch simplification was like a benefit. I do not agree. We've talked about this a few times. Like I think that's a game where like yeah, if you have the option, you play the DS one. I I think if you don't know better, like if you just went into the Switch version without ever having played the DS one, you'd probably be like, "Oh, this is fine." Like I don't think it would be anyone's like favorite RPG or anything, but I think you'd be cool with it. But knowing like what it was originally going from the DS version to Switch, it's a much more painful transition for me at least. I definitely prefer the DS one. That is that is certainly a take people can have. Is where I'll leave that at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that is one of those games that we've talked about where it's like, what is the definitive version? And that, like, to us it's the DS version in general.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dealer's choice, but yeah. Um but anyway, we have a lot of news to talk about. There was a Nintendo Switch partner showcase this morning, and there's some other news to talk about as well. We've been playing some stuff. Specifically, Kevin's been playing some stuff. So we're going to get into all that. But before we do that, we're going to go through some housekeeping. If you've been enjoying the show and you'd like to support us, please hit the subscribe button over on YouTube, youtube.com/@partychatjrpgpod. Go to your podcast platform of choice, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us out. If you want to help out more on the financial side, we do have a Patreon where we have different tiers that give you rewards, including getting the episode on regular weeks a day early, access to our Discord, monthly Q&A episode, as well as Campfire Catalog, which is our book club podcast, which currently we're working on both The Legend of Dragoon and the Lunar Remastered Collection. Lastly, go to youtube.com/Kevin Kenson and hit the subscribe button over there. Kevin dropped his own direct video and sharing his thoughts. And yeah, we want to support. First news story, and biggest news story that isn't Nintendo Switch Direct. Sony has acquired 2.5% of Bandai Namco. Yeah, so they made a partnership deal where they basically bought 2.5% of the company, which was approximately 68 billion yen. And there were statements by both, first one is from Nobuhiko Momoi, the executive vice president of Bandai Namco, saying the Bandai Namco Group promotes an IP access strategy that aims to maximize IP value by leveraging the appeal of worldview of IP, providing the optimal products and services at the optimal timing in the optimal regions. We are filled with excitement about the potential to create new entertainment by combining Sony Group's strength and technological capabilities across various entertainment fields with Bandai Namco's IP access strategy. Through this collaboration, we aim to connect with IP fans worldwide, co-create the future together, and realize our purpose. Quote, fun for all into the future, end quote, and mid to long-term vision. Quote, connect with the fans, end quote. And then we got a comment from Toshimoto Mitomo, Chief Strategy Officer, Representative Corporate Executive Officer at Sony Group Corporation. Through this partnership, we aim to co-create an array of content and experiences that exceed expectations and deliver kando, emotion, to even more fans, alongside Bandai Namco Group. with its outstanding capacity for multi-directional expansion of diverse IP and deep connections with fans at real touch points both domestically and internationally. By combining by combining the strengths of both companies in the field of entertainment and unlocking the potential of compelling IP, we will further accelerate our efforts to maximize IP value and realize Sony's long-term vision, quote, creative entertainment vision, end quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, as I understand it, this deal is a little bit more. I realize the names Sony and Bandai Namco both make us like fixate on video games, but as I understand it, this is a little more in the anime sector. Is the point of this deal, correct?
I think it's yes, it is anime but it's like it's still like I'm curious as to how it will migrate to the video game space because Bandai Namco does like make a lot of anime games.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The one reaction I did see right away from a couple people, including on our own server, is whether or not this impacts any potential future for working with Nintendo and Monolith for Monolith getting back some IPs. Because there's been a lot of long-standing questions of like, are we going to get any kind of port or remaster of Xenosaga? Because that was published under Bandai Namco. Square Enix is a whole separate issue with Xenogears. That's the fun thing with Monolith. They've made 3 different Xeno franchises, and they've all been under different publishers, which raises some headaches. And so I know I saw a little bit of like, I wonder if this impacts, because I don't think there's been any actual like real hard evidence of it, but there's been a lot of talk for a while of Saga getting some kind of remaster report. So it'll be interesting to see what this does for just any property really that Bandai Namco is working on in the future. I mean, Sony's certainly been more open to multi-plat stuff themselves, so I don't necessarily see like exclusivity being a huge thing, but we'll see.
No, yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. But I mean, it's still cool because it is one of those things. Like Bandai Namco is one of those companies where like I think I always underestimate how big of a company it is.
Oh yeah.
Because like I know them more specifically in the video game space, and it's just but like they make all these games, and it's just like, how do y'all have the money? And it's like maybe they're just like selling really well, and I'm not realizing it, right? Like those are like all these things that I kind of put into perspective whenever something happens with Bandai Namco. I'm like, oh yeah, you're like a real monolith of a company in a way that I just continuously forget or dismiss.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Well, and like part of it too is like one thing, like they are larger than just games. Like they are not just a game manufacturer. They are involved in anime and the like as well. And all the IPs they can leverage, right? I mean, like I know we kind of make fun of yet another anime fighter, but like there are dedicated audiences for that I would hope they've kind of aimed the right budget and return on for all those. And then not to mention like there's a lot of big stuff they've published. I mean, they are the main publisher for a lot of the FromSoft stuff that's been going on, with a couple exceptions, right? Like Sekiro was under Activision, Demon Souls and Bloodborne were under Sony, but like Elden Ring, Armored Core, all the main Dark Souls, those are Bandai Namco published.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just like I don't really have more to add to it. It's just like, oh yeah, like Bandai Namco is like has a lot of the stuff. I think it's just because like, I'm not trying to like speak down on Bandai Namco. Like they definitely have some like good IPs, but like I just feel like that compared to like Square Enix, right? Or like Capcom, I just don't really see them at that level.
I feel like, and I don't know what causes this. Maybe it's because of like how they acquired certain IPs over time or who they've worked with. There's a lot less series that I directly correlate with them, even though they work with it. Like I said, right? Like they publish all the Dark Souls and Elden Ring games, but like FromSoft is my first thought there, right? Not Bandai Namco. Whereas like Street Fighter, Mega Man, Monster Hunter, those I immediately associate with Capcom, right? There's a closer relationship with the big name game, and like this is the dev and the publisher. Whereas with the Bandai Namco stuff, it's like, oh, like yeah, there's Tekken and there's all these other titles, but you tend to think of, I think, the developer first a little bit in a lot of those cases. Like when I think of like directly Bandai Namco, I think Tekken is the one thing I think of.
Well, it's Tekken,
And
Tails,
Tails. Yeah.
and like the anime games. It's like that's basically like, and even then now, like Demon Slayer's under Sega, right? It's not under Bandai. But like for the longest time, when that first Demon Slayer game was announced, immediately I thought it was a Bandai Namco game.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, when you see an anime fighter, that's like where your brain goes first.
100%.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, we'll see if anything of like tangible comes out of that.
I'm just here waiting for Soul Calibur 7.
Oh yeah, Soul Calibur. That's another thing too.
It's
Like,
been a
that's
little bit
something.
now, but
Yeah. I wonder what would be the guest character this time around.
if they do another one, I don't know. Like it's Tekken has certainly taken over as like their successful 3D fighter, and like they try every now and then with Soul Calibur, and I personally love it. It's an old series of mine, but like
Wasn't
it doesn't hit as hard.
2B also in Soul Calibur 6?
2B's in everything. What is 2B not in?
I know.
2B's in like
I
4 Super
know.
Fighters.
Because 2B's in
Yeah.
2B's in Grand Blue now too, right?
Yeah, 2B's and Grand Blue as well. Yeah, so
Yeah.
2B was added, but the original guest character in Soul Calibur 6 was Geralt. That was
Geralt. Yeah. I did know that. I did know that.
Yeah.
Okay. PlayStation has announced the PS Plus games for August. We got Lies of P, Daisy, and My Hero One's Justice 2. Yeah, we've talked about Lies of P on here before. That is a good game.
That's a good win.
That's
good timing too, because of that DLC. It's like, hey, if you've been waiting on this game, like just get the base game now, start it, get hooked, and then might as well pay for that DLC pass. Get that update.
Yeah, that is a game that I do want to go back and finish. I really do.
And if people aren't aware, if you were worried about that game because of like the Soul style difficulty fog mist that's always over Souls likes, it's not part. It launched alongside the expansion, but not like bundled with it. They did add difficulty options. So there is an easier mode now that you can play in the base game if you're like just not about that. I don't know how much easier it is. I don't know if it's like still like a good challenge, but they did add difficulty options for a little more variety.
Cool. On top of that, starting on August 5th, PlayStation Plus members can claim a special set of 15th anniversary avatars featuring fan favorite titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 4, God of War Ragnarok, and Twisted Metal, all for free.
I like how 2 of those are PlayStation IPs.
Yeah. Very odd.
And one's Xbox, technically.
Yeah, technically. Suikoden Live announced for August 5th. The broadcast is going to run for an hour and 30 minutes and will feature, quote, a variety of topics and the latest information, end quote. What are we hoping for here out of an hour and a half of Suikoden focused content?
I mean, based on the past presentations, they definitely will take their time. They're going to get a little bit into some of the nitty gritty stuff that like general audiences aren't necessarily going to care about. Like there could be some like, there could be some developer interviews or that kind of deal. I think the safe bet, right, is updates on all the things that we know are in production. There's the mobile game, there's the manga, there's the anime. Any of those are ripe for updates. I don't think it's going to be some kind of place where they just suddenly announce, like, by the way, we're doing another remaster or something like that, unless there's another event before that where that happens. But considering we're just a few days away now at this point, I don't think that's happening. So yeah, I'm sure we'll just get some updates and everything. I'm going to check it out, or at least like look at a translation or a news drop of it all after. Look, it's a franchise that I really do want to come back, and I find it very interesting how hard they've been leaning into these dedicated presentations for it. So like, I like that Konami is giving it the time of day right now. I just need to see stuff actually release past the HD collection, which was great.
Yeah, no, Konami has been getting a lot of like goodwill, I think, from people recently. And there's, still some things that like people aren't super happy about, like there being a new Suikoden and it's a mobile title, but
I think it's like I think it comes from this place of the goodwill is like, just do something with your stuff, man. Like, yeah, we'll praise it. Just do something. Like release, like please, like
Hmm. Hmm.
do things, do some more things
Yeah.
again. Because
Hmm.
right now they're still relying heavily on a lot of outside companies and like their own kind of smaller teams for some specific work. It's mostly remaster stuff, but like as we've seen, Silent Hill they've started handing over to more devs to do things with. Uh, we've got a lot of titles coming out for that. Uh, I I would love, as much as I have mixed feelings about Konami's overall like story arc as a publisher and dev and things that have happened under them. They have a lot of great IPs that I would love to see leveraged properly, and some of them have
Yep.
started to be. Like Silent Hill got some good love. I thought the Suikoden remasters were fantastic. We've got that Metal Gear Solid 3 one coming out, which I'm a little bit more about, just conceptually. It looks good. I just have weird feelings. Um, I I would love to see more stuff happen with their things. What I'm surprised about, we still haven't seen any real like motion yet on Castlevania outside of all the remaster collections. Like, there's a very
Which,
successful
yeah, yeah,
animated series going on right now, and there's clearly
yeah,
demand. So, like, what are we doing? What's going on, guys?
yeah. I'm sure. I very much am super like. I mean, like, I'm not saying that like people aren't happy about the old Castlevanias getting ported, but those are like, uh, those I'm super happy about as someone who doesn't have a lot of history with Castlevania, and I do eventually want to just play through that series and play all the games. Um, so I get, but I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, and that's it for like main stories. And to be clear, August 5th, 4 a.m. Pacific time, it'll be watchable on YouTube for those that want to be up that early for that. Um, so some quickies for the week. Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon is now launching on January 15th of next year. Elden Ring Night Ring Duo Expeditions update is out now. You basically can play with a buddy now because it used to be just one player or three player.
Yep.
Um, Speaking of Elden Ring Night Ring, the game has officially sold 5 million copies, as well as Shadow of the Erdtree passing 10 million. The
Bandai Namco.
SMT5 series. What was that?
I said Bandai Namco. What we were just talking
Hey,
about.
I know. Uh, at the SMT5 series has officially passed 2 million units, so that includes the original launch on Switch as well as the Vengeance re-release. And lastly, Mario Paint is now available on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yep.
Are there any like fun details about that, like when it comes to like using a mouse or anything like that?
Yeah, so actually there's two things. One, you can use mouse style controls on Switch 2. You pretty much have to. But it is not a Switch 2 exclusive. You can USB plug in a mouse to an original Switch and it will work for Mario Paint. So kind of an awkward nightmare to do that in handheld mode, but if you dock your Switch and plug a USB mouse into it, you're able to do that. So that's a neat little thing, that it's like not a Switch 2 exclusive NSO game. Like, you're able to take advantage of it on both platforms.
Sweet. Very excited. Um, Now we're gonna get into what we've been playing for this week. Kevin,
So
the floor
much.
is yours.
Yeah, I got three I'm going to talk about. I'm going to speed through two of them, and there's one I want to spend a little bit more time on.
Okay, all right.
So speed through. I think it was last week, I talked about finally playing Deltarune Chapter 3. I also have now played Chapter 4. I also replayed 3 and got all the stuff I missed. Goddamn, just what's some games. I God damn it. Toby Fox, you wonderful, glorious son of a bitch. Just great stuff. I cannot emphasize enough. Like, it's gonna be very curious to me, like, how these games work in conversation this year, because like it's still kind of early access, but now they're available for sale. And like, are some people going to include those in the running for certain like game of the year conversations, or at least specific categories like indie game and such? Because they're great, but there is this kind of weird, like, they're releasing each chapter by chapter. We don't know how long it's going to be till we get like all of them released. But you're paying for it now, unlike the other ones that were kind of like free demos. So
Yeah.
But
once you pay was $25, you have access to like the future episodes as well.
yeah, it's basically you're buying in at this point, but it's not like they're charging you for future episodes to complete it.
Yeah.
It's just like this is the buy-in point where now to keep playing past chapter 2, you need to like buy some version of it. Totally worth it. We've talked about this a couple times. If you are the type that you want to wait till it's complete, I respect that. But like, I think there is something to keeping up with them as they drop. But yeah, good stuff. Incredible. I've updated all my music playlists. Past that, Donkey Kong Bonanza. You talked about that a little bit last week, and I literally picked it up like after we recorded, so I did not have any experience yet, and now I've actually like
Was that
cleared
last
the game.
week?
Yeah, it feels like a while, right? We also recorded
Yeah.
earlier. We recorded earlier in the week last week, and this week we're recording like on the morning of because
That's
of Direct.
true. That's
So
true.
like it's almost a week and a half difference this time.
Wow.
But
What is
Bonanza,
time, dog?
freaking fantastic. I still, when I went into it, because I when I started playing it, it had already been out for a few days, and we already had plenty of conversations of people being like, "Oh, this is game of the year. This is the game of the year." And my thought about that at the time was like, I'm probably going to end up respecting that like call, but it's not going to be my game of the year, which is where I ended up. I think for me, I still think Expedition 33 is just a little above. But damn, do I like this game a lot more than I expected to. I was really worried about the digging destruction and like building towers using soft materials as being like a distraction. Because like we talked about this, I don't really love Tears of the Kingdom because I don't like the like full blown kind of like freestyle your way into problem solving, which is not really at all what Bonanza does. Like there are ways to do that if you want to take the time to, but the game actually has a lot more level structure built for rewarding like just regular platforming mechanics along with learning how to use the bonanzas that you unlock over time. There are absolutely some silly things you can do with the destructibility and kind of building pathways, but it is so extremely optional. Like I've talked to a few people that also kind of had that sentiment looking at the gameplay where they were like, yeah, I don't really know if I'm into that aspect of it. And I've told them like, you don't need to engage with that. Like if you like that stuff, you can, and that's a totally like other valid way to play the game and have fun. But if you just want like a traditional 3D platformer that just happens to have, this kind of voxel level destructibility and building, you can just play it way more straightforward that way. And that's how I engaged with it, and I loved it. I have a lot of bananas left to collect, but I've done the base game. Great stuff. I have some minor complaints. Like I think a lot of the bosses, I think more of them need gimmicks. Like there's a couple bosses that are interesting fights, but then there's also bosses where it's like go Kong mode and press punch until you win. Especially the early on bosses. A lot of the early bosses are very boring. Very simple is maybe even easier, like better way to put it. But there's some later ones that are better, thankfully. And then this is maybe not a controversial opinion, but like one I'm a little mixed on. The music is good. Like I think the music in the game is very good, but it feels more like a continuation of like what we were getting in Odyssey, and not really like Donkey Kong. Like there are throwbacks to Donkey Kong tracks that are great, and I love those moments. But this is actually one of the first major Donkey Kong titles that David Wise is not involved in composing. Some of his works are used and repurposed and remixed, and I believe he's credited and everything properly for that. But you can really tell that like a lot of the original tracks and stuff are just like a very different vibe. That's like not bad. It just doesn't feel as Donkey Kong to me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any further thoughts on that one? Because I know you played a little bit more since we last.
I have not played any more since I talked about it. I probably won't because Legend of Dragoon and Lunar 2 and like I really want to play. And then like on top of just like new releases, I have Lost Soul Aside next month. That is definitely a must play for me.
Finally, it's happening.
And then Trails the next month. And I really want to finish Pokemon Violet before Pokemon ZA comes out. So I kind of have like an immediate like lengthy list of games, and I'm like, hey, I really need to play these before certain days, certain months. So
That's
Yeah,
valid.
it's
Yeah.
so Donkey Kong Bonanza, I will get there eventually. But it's just not, and just from my initial playthrough, it wasn't like a, man, I need to keep playing this. I need to keep playing this
Yeah. I think it took a little bit
deal.
for it to click for me. Like I think I liked it from the start, but it wasn't probably until like the third world where I was like, oh, I really like this. Like there I think
Hmm.
it starts to play with some of the mechanics a little more. You get some more options with the later bonanzas. Um I think it was around the time I got the zebra transformation where I really started to like the game more actively. Um like I said, it's probably not going to end up being my like personal game of the year choice, but it's up there. Like I absolutely respect anyone that picks it as their game of the year, and if it took home most of those awards at the end of the year, at least based on what's released so far, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah, like I get it. And I talked about it like this the last episode. I would totally understand it. I just it's just I'm not, that's just like not my type of game to be
Sure.
like, oh, this is game of the year. Like I loved Astrobot. Like I definitely think, like I think people giving Astrobot like a 10 out of 10, I probably wouldn't do that, but like I understand why.
Yeah.
And but and it won like game of the year awards. And I was just like, that one I was a little bit more uh kind of, I don't know about that one, dog, just
Sure.
because I don't think it like really pushed the genre forward in a way like Mario Odyssey did. And like that was the type of thing I was like trying, like argument I was trying to make. It's just like, we talk about, I think there's a lot of people in the games industry, um like their game of the year is about like they focus on games that like push the genre or the medium forward in some way.
Mhm.
And I don't think that Astrobot was that game last year. Versus like, and so when I tell people, I'm like, guys, like Mario Odyssey came out like it's 8 years ago and is a much more notable and like unique 3D platforming experience than Astrobot is. Again, not to downplay Astrobot, but that's
Yeah.
just kind of how it
Which
is.
which don't tell a lot of 3D Mario fans that, because Odyssey was not loved by a lot of the classic fans.
I mean, I'm not a, as I said before, I'm not a Mario guy like
Yeah.
that, but like, the whole Cappy stuff, that was a unique experience. And like I think
Yeah.
that the way that they designed that game around that mechanic was, you know,
Yeah.
uh
I liked
can't,
yeah. I liked Odyssey. I think I liked Bonanza more. Um,
sure.
and I think with the argument of like pushing the genre forward, I think Bonanza absolutely does that more so than like Astrobot
Yeah.
did. Because I agree with you. I like Astrobot a lot, and like I wasn't mad at people like that being their favorite game and that taking like, because I think while I agree with your definition of game of the year, I don't think that's the way a lot of people select it. I think oftentimes it just comes down to what their favorite game was. And sometimes that's just like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's not
it
my
was.
definition.
Oh, I know that. Well, I'm just saying your definition is pushing the medium forward.
That's not my definition.
Oh, okay.
I
What's your
think that's
definition?
like how I think that's how I think a lot of people in the games industry
Mm,
see game of the year.
sure.
I don't. I
Gotcha.
don't like that mentality.
Mm,
My game of the year for 2019 was The Walking Dead, the final season. That did not push the medium in any way.
right.
You know what I mean? And so like I just, and I was like, the point I was trying to get to is that like I do think Donkey Kong Bonanza is like Mario Odyssey more than like Astrobot, where like, yeah, like if it wins a bunch of Game of the Year awards, I get it. Like I'm not going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's not going to be my game of the year, and obviously you want your game of the year to like get that recognition. Looking at Returnal in 2021, but
I don't care. It's all whatever, anyways.
yeah,
I don't respect award
um,
shows, so that's a whole separate conversation.
no, that's fair. That's fair. It's one of those things like, I mean, this is this could be a topic of the show,
Yeah.
but like in the short of it, like I like award shows in the sense of exposure,
Sure.
not in the sense of like, and like specifically the creators being recognized,
Right.
if that makes
Directly.
sense.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, directly. So for me, it's like, dang, I really want this game to get more recognition so that like, oh, it may potentially get nominated for things and even more people will get exposed to it through those award shows.
Sure.
That's like my kind of like thing behind it.
Yeah.
Outside of the Oscars. The Oscars, I eat that shit up. I'm like, yes, I love the Oscars.
Yeah.
But
I don't. Yeah. I don't at all. I am curious. I would actually like to see some data and studies on like how much that actually impact sales. Like I would like to see, because I feel like oftentimes the game of the year winner is something that is already a stellar like money like outside of what the one time it was like It Takes Two was probably like the one game that like was still successful but wasn't like
Mhm.
bonker sales numbers to begin with. I would be curious to see if there's a metric on like, oh, being game of the year winner gives a, saw a boost in sales for 3 months or whatever. Like, I'd actually be curious to see if there's any data on that because
I'm sure there's.
I
Go
feel like
ahead.
the impact is not actually that gigantic. Like, I'm sure there is a needle move, but like,
Mm.
is it like a versus an
Hmm.
actual,
I
boost?
I don't think it's gonna be like like a gargantuan boost, but I think it's gonna be a notable boost because like it's kind of like during review season where certain if you're a big enough outlet or whatever, like you can be reached out to being like, hey, do you need the PR will be like, do you need codes for game of the year consideration for these games for like this game, this game, this game,
Sure,
and like even if that's not used for game like even if it's not ultimately used for game of the year consideration, it might be used for like other sort of uh content to promote promote the game
sure.
that way too. So there are like other ways around that as well. But yeah. But anyway,
Yeah,
Donkey Kong
that's
Bonanza, everybody.
yeah. And then the last game, we got a little sidetracked on that one, but the last game I want to talk about real quick is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, because I did get an early review code for that, and embargo is now up as of I think like yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever. Anyways, great game, fantastic game. For anyone that hasn't really kept track of this one, this is a uh, spiritual successor in a sense. It's a return to the 2D style for Ninja Gaiden. It is not made in house, but is actually handled by the Game Kitchen, who is most known for Blasphemous and Blasphemous 2. Um, it does not handle that. You can see the shared heritage a little bit there, but like they clearly made this as a Ninja Gaiden game, like first and foremost in mind. It has a very traditional 2D platformer level structure. You go between different stages that are numbered. Uh, there are little hidden goodies defined across, linear level designs. It's not like a Metroidvania. It's not like an open direction kind of thing. This is a very linear 2D platformer experience, and a very good one. Solid feeling mechanics, uh, like decent story for like what I think. That's not what I'm looking for necessarily in this kind of game, but like I think it captures that kind of like older retro era ninja platformer kind of story. You just get little bits of tidbits here and there. There's a setup, there's a finish. It's good. My only real complaint about the game that does get addressed a little bit, it's considerably easier than I would have expected going in.
Sure.
Not just in the sense of like, oh, like this is just an easy game. It's just being Ninja Gaiden in name, both for the 2D and for the 3D games, traditionally are pretty just difficult from the outset. Um, at least in their original releases. They did simplify it a little bit in some of the remasters. And then Game Kitchen, like Blasphemous isn't the hardest thing out there, but like I'd say it leans more in the difficult direction. Uh, I would say base game Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is a little less friction than I would expect, especially some of the early on bosses. They just have very obvious patterns that once you kind of fight them once, you're like, oh, I have this. And a lot of them you're probably going to clear in your first try. One thing I will say is that if you're looking for challenge, that does exist in this game. It just takes a second to get there, because one, there are stage challenges that you can try to complete, and some of those are legitimately pretty difficult. It'll be like, oh, like do a no hit run on this stage, like just get through it and don't get hit, and that takes a bit more skill. And there's an unlockable hard mode that is not just like, oh, enemies do more damage and take longer to die. It's like a full redo where all the
Hmm.
stages have additional obstacles. There are parts of stages that are redesigned. Enemies have new attack patterns. It's like a different game. And it's honestly more so what I would have expected, like, first diving in to feel like. I kind of wish they gave you the option to just do hard right away, even if it was like an old school, like, enter a button combination on the title screen or something. Uh, but yeah, if you like challenge and difficulty and you hear about this one being not that hard, uh, there it is there. You just have to dig a little bit, and you're gonna have to get through the initial playthrough where like it's fun, but it's not necessarily challenging. And then the real difficult nougity goodness is there. So I think they were trying to walk a balance where like people that like that challenge have the stuff there, but you can also just like pick up and play it if you just want a cool ninja platformer.
So yeah, I want to play it. I've been interested in it since it released. It does kind of suck that at least like from Go, it's not the what you go to a Ninja Gaiden for, which is to get your ass kicked and
Yeah,
figure things out.
it's a bit too frictionless at first, which I know
Yeah.
I even saw that term come across from a few journals where they're like, I just didn't know where the friction was like right away. Like what's
Hmm.
going on? And it is there. It just not there from the outset.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Dot Emu and Game Kitchen for sending you a code for that. That's awesome. Um, Now we're gonna get into the topic of the show being the Nintendo Switch Direct partner showcase. Which overall thoughts?
Uh
I think like as JRPG people, we got fed the most,
yes.
and even then, it wasn't great. It was like solid. It was fine. I think that like going when they announced it, so initially, we were planning on recording Wednesday morning, and and then, but I think it was like Tuesday where we were like, uh, there were starting to be the murmurs of like the direct is this week, and
Yeah.
so I was just like, okay, let's plan for Wednesday morning. If they don't announce the direct by the time we start recording, we'll just wait till after the direct, or we'll push it back if the direct gets announced. Um, and so leading up to that, I was kind of thinking about like the things that I want, didn't want, that type of thing. And the thing that you kind of always have to put into perspective is that it is it is like a partner showcase. So, really when it came to Nintendo stuff, the only thing I was really, really expecting was Age of Imprisonment, which is something that we did get. You know, I thought that there could have been a chance for Fire Emblem simply because Fire Emblem, as of Engage, has started to be co-developed or by like a third party. So I thought that that could have been a potential thing. But outside of those two things, I wasn't really expecting anything from Nintendo first party.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that like what we got was like the things that made the most sense to come next. But again, even so,
Yeah.
it was fine.
It was fine. I have a couple thoughts about this because there are some specific announcements that I really do like, and I thought I put it in the, as you said, right, like if you like JRPGs, there are some specific games to be excited for here. I think what deflates it a little bit is kind of the problem I think comes up a lot with like state of plays, which has traditionally not been as big of an issue for Nintendo, but it's beginning to be more. And that's the fact that, while this is a partner showcase, it is still a Nintendo partner showcase. And people want to see stuff that is for the Switch. And I think it's especially true right now because, you have people that have adopted the brand new Switch 2. They've spent $500. There are people who are waiting to upgrade to a Switch 2 and they want like that excuse for why. And while we saw a couple like good games, all the new announcements we saw, as far as I can tell, are multi-plat. And a lot of the other announcements were games that have already been out on other systems and are multi-plat and are just now making their way to Switch because the 2 is powerful enough to support them. And like, it's cool those games are coming to the platform. Like, I don't think it's like, oh, like no one's gonna buy Persona 3 Reload again, or no one's gonna be interested in this like upcoming game that's going to be multi-platform. Like, Switch 2 is a viable, fun place to play those. But it's not going to be the game that's going to be like, I still have my regular Switch. I'm not interested in Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm waiting for like something else to make me upgrade. And even though this is again a partner direct, I don't think it brought any kind of like really strong sauce that was like, oh, this is why you want to Switch too. Like the one exclusive they talked about was Age of Imprisonment, which like I'm excited for. But even then, honestly, what they showed wasn't a lot. We didn't really get a hard
No.
state of any sort. We got a little bit more gameplay, like actually in action. I
Yeah.
think the most interesting thing about them talking about it was using the word canonical.
Yeah.
implying that unlike anyone who played Age of Calamity might know that one of the kind of weird rage-inducing things about that game is that we thought it was going to be like a canon prequel, and then it's did like divergent
It's a what if.
timeline shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this one, it sounds like it is being canon, which also means, I guess, no Link, which is kind of interesting. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's been an interesting push about like having Zelda focused games, which is cool.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you, and there's a lot of like more. I think that today I've kind of come to some uh theories, I guess, or just like some like observations about um some stuff with like that we've talked about in the past about like Switch 1 and Switch 2 and upgrade paths and all that stuff that I definitely want to talk about once it gets to an appropriate time to do so. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. So I'm gonna just go in order. Um there's one small announcement that isn't JRPG related that I forgot to put in there, and I just threw it in there somewhere. So, but more or less, this is the order of how things were announced. First thing that was shown off, which is one of the biggest packages, was Monster Hunter Stories 3. Um, I did not expect a Monster Hunter Stories game, like another game this soon. But and I've heard like the Monster Hunter Stories 2 is really slept on.
yeah.
It's really good. So I'm excited about um 3, and it looks, with it being a Switch 2 game specifically,
Yeah.
it looks miles better. Like it looks so
interesting.
good.
What it's also very different looking though. I'm curious if they're
The
changing.
presentation for sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, because like Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2 were very like kind of like,
Chibi kind of.
well, not only that, but they were Pokemon coded, right? Like your main character was a
Mm,
younger protagonist, and it's like, oh, you got a recently hatched like baby monster as your companion, and like you'd get other ones. It was a pocket monster style game.
yeah.
Whereas this one, the main character is a grown man, as far as we can tell, unless that's like a bait and switch, and we're gonna get like another trailer that shows a different main character. The monsters look larger in size and like more traditional, like still not like quite as big as the ones you'd fight and kill in the main series, but they are more grown, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think what was interesting is we didn't see any combat in that trailer.
It
So
has been confirmed it's turn-based.
it has
There
been
has been
confirmed.
confirmations. It has
Okay.
been confirmed it's turn-based.
Okay.
Yes.
So they are keeping in the same style, at least that way. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm very interested in seeing more of it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. Again, I have both of those games. I really want to. I've been wanting to play them for a while. And I think that once like Hunter Stories 3 gets closer, I think I'm gonna finally like jump in on those games and check them out. I heard the first one is like pretty good, and then I've heard again the second one is like really really good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to check those out. So yeah, it's coming out in 2026 for Switch 2, and it is multi-platform. Assuming just moving forward, unless I specify that is like exclusive to like Switch or Switch 2, assume that it is multi-platform.
Which is gonna be most of this.
Which is most, yeah, because it's easier that way.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a new Katamari game, a second new Katamari game for this year. Once Upon a Katamari. It's coming out on October 24th. And it will be available on Switch and Switch 2. Are you a Katamari guy? I forgot if we've ever talked about this.
You know, I loved Katamari a lot back in the day, and I've had fun like going back to it every now and then, but I have not kept up with every release. I
Mhm.
couldn't tell you what like the changes or updates are with each new one because I've lost track. I know some of them are like remasters and re-releases, and some of them actually are like newer titles. Couldn't tell you which are which just off the top of my head. Even seeing this one, I was like, I'm not sure like what's new. I don't know. It's been so long since I kept like a tight attention to it. Um, yeah, I love the older Katamaris. I just have not kept up with it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I've never played them. They're just not my type of game. Like I know that for those that love those games, it's like some of their favorite games ever, but just not particularly for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Worth noting, this one did get. I know you said coming to Switch 1. It is confirmed also as being multi-platform. They have not
yeah.
confirmed Switch 2 specifically.
Oh, okay. Um, Just Dance 2026 edition, October 14th. Nothing really needed more to be said about that. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming on November 14th for Switch 2. And it is confirmed that it will be a game key card.
Yes.
So
One thing worth noting real quick, I don't know how it works exactly, but they did highlight that one of the additions to this version, because this is a game that's been out already, there are like Joy-Con motion controls. No idea if that'll actually be fun or effective, but like there's at least kind of
yeah,
a point towards like why you would play it here versus elsewhere. Maybe.
they showed like Goku doing like the whole spirit bomb thing, and you could use the Joy-Cons to throw the spirit bomb, which is like, that's neat, that's cute.
Yeah.
Plants vs Zombies is getting a remake called Plants vs Zombies Replanted. It is coming out on October 23rd for Switch and Switch 2, and there is a co-op and PvP confirmed as like new additions. Pac-Man World 2 Repack is coming out on September 26th for Switch and Switch 2, and it is confirmed that it will be a game key card for physical release. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, September 30th release date, as we already know. It is going to be fully voiced, and there's also going to be new conversations with characters throughout the game. Which, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's something that we've heard about for a little while now. That's part of
Okay.
because again, the game gives you the option of playing like classic mode or I forget the
Yeah.
term used, but remaster mode basically.
Mhm.
And so remaster mode, one of the things is there is going to be a whole bunch of new dialogue. I think a lot of it is going to be like optional new dialogue that shows up in combat. So it's like, oh, if you brought Agrius to this fight, she's going to have something to say that she didn't say in the original version of the game. If you have Mustadio with you, he'll have something to say that he didn't say in the original game. I think it's meant to like give more characterization to a lot of party members that like are named plot characters you could recruit, and then they just didn't say anything for the rest of the game.
Okay.
It's giving them a little bit more fleshing out and relevance as the story continues on. And I'm sure there's going to be other additions on top of that. But that's like I think one of the main things we're seeing come up. I'm for it, especially because you have a lot of original team involved. I like the idea of kind of expanding out in that sense and giving a little bit more depth to some of the world. Because it was always a little frustrating to be like, man, I really like this character. I'm going to bring them along. And they're just kind of like another party member at this point. They might have a unique class and be really cool in that sense, but like they don't have anything to add to what's happening plot wise. So that's a really nice addition. Yeah, I continue to be excited for this. I love the original Tactics. I started replaying Tactics Ogre Reborn a little bit in preparation. Looking forward to it.
Next up is Persona 3 Reload. It's coming to Switch 2 on October 23rd, and it is a game key card physical release. Legend of Zelda Age of Imprisonment is still slated for this winter, and what we already talked about is basically all they showed, and it's just very odd. I thought we would at least get a release date. You know, like I really just feel like that particular update was the biggest like nothing nothing burger. And yeah, it is what it is, I guess. EA FC 26 is coming to Switch 2, and it will be a game key card physical release. Madden 26 coming to Switch 2. We don't know if it's game key card release, but it is EA Sports, so I would expect it. This was a weird one. This was a weird one. Chilling by the Fire.
Yeah,
This was such a weird thing.
Shadow Drop, baby.
Yeah, so this was like a small little like indie game that was shadow dropped today for the Switch 2. and it's like you're basically trying to. It's just like you're making fire.
You're chilling
You're
by
just
the
like making a
fire.
campfire.
The
Yeah, I
name's
know.
right on the
It's,
tin.
I
Yeah.
know. No, it's like this podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it shows a part where like you can have your friends join in through the chat,
Yeah.
and there's just these big circles with people's faces, and it just looks so goofy. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Um, just like watch it the direct. If you haven't watched the direct and you're just listening to these announcements, watch the direct specifically for this part of the direct, and you'll have a good laugh. It's so fucking funny. Um, Apex Legends is coming to Switch 2 on August 5th. Uh, Hella, which is this like little mouse adventure game, was announced for Switch and Switch 2 on coming out 2026.
Real
Uh,
quick, we're
yeah,
missing an important distinction here. You're playing as Little Mouse, who has a frog backpack, and the frog backpack has an extendable tongue that does things.
that is true.
It's such a silly looking concept. And the frame rate was a little rough on it, I think, during the presentation. But like, this is one of those games where I'm like, I don't know if this is actually going to be good in execution, but it's cute, and
It
I
gave
want to
me
know more.
it gave me Unravel vibes.
A little bit. Did it actually? I was wondering, is that a because this
I don't know who the dev is. No.
I was gonna say this presentation had a lot of EA going on, so I was curious if this was like an EA original, like one of those, they funded a small dev to make a game, because this looks like the kind of thing they would fund.
So the developer is a developer called Wind Up. This is their first game.
Is it published by EA?
No, it's
Okay.
published by a company called Knight's Peak. And they have published games such as, if I can find it really quick. Okay, they published that Mandragora game that came out earlier this year.
Okay.
But they've done some other stuff too, but that's like the
That's the
most
biggest
notable
name.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Star Wars Outlaws is coming to Switch 2 on September 4th. Game key card confirmed, and
Not a
boy,
surprise.
that game did not look good during that direct. From
Yeah.
a visual standpoint.
It's rough. Like, that's one of those things where, like, personally, I actually really like Star Wars Outlaws. Like, I think it was a very underrated game last year. Like, not nearly enough people gave a chance.
I want to play it. I do
It's
want to play
very
it.
good, honestly. Like, it had a couple problems in the early parts of the game, which they did fix later, but I get why it turned people off. Like, there was a lot of instant fail stealth mission stuff that was just poorly paced, and yeah. But yeah, like, this is one of those rough ones, because it's like, that's cool, it's coming to Switch 2. Maybe it'll run better in full release, but it's like, I feel like this is one of those games where when they talk about like, oh, Switch 2 ports aren't selling great, like I feel like this is going to be one more on the pile for that, where it's like, yeah, man, this game already came out on other systems that it probably looks and runs better on, and like, it's cool the Switch 2 is strong enough to support a version of it now, but that's still not going to be like the best way to play it, unless you just really want to play Outlaws in handheld mode.
Yeah. It's not a game that I will play on my Nintendo Switch 2. That's all I'll say. But
Yeah.
it makes sense that it's coming over. Chronos, The New Dawn, is the new game from Bloober Team. Coming out September 5th for Switch 2. And not a JRPG, but this was definitely a highlight of the direct for me. I thought this game looked sick. It's a third person over the shoulder shooter horror-esque game. And the enemies, the concept is, the premise is very cool, where like the enemies can, if they find another dead body, they'll basically like mutate it and reanimate it and turn it into something else, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And then
Very it reminds me of like Resident Evil, the remake of the original Resident Evil, where zombies would sometimes re-rise as red zombies and like be more dangerous. I think it's a fun spin on like horror games, because it's giving you more reason to be like, you can't just be like, oh, I safely killed the enemies in this area, I'm good to go. There's this like new constant fear of like, I don't know if one's gonna get re-raised though, and it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, and then remind me or correct me if I'm wrong, but like the other side of it is that you can like um y- use like the enemy's powers, but it affects like your mental stability. Like you'll have like visions and stuff like in the middle of your
Yes.
play.
Well, there's a thing where you like absorb memories of other people, and that like
Yes,
helps you.
that's
Yeah,
it.
it's all the monsters. You're like absorbing memories because a big part of this game too is that it's like I think there's a time travel aspect. Like you're going back and forth between like things being destroyed and messed up, and then like right before things went bad, or maybe like shortly after. So it's not quite as like
Yeah,
destroyed and old. It looks
looks
interesting.
very cool.
Yeah, I'm very curious because this is the first release that Bloopers had since the Silent Hill 2 remake, and kind of a running joke right up until then was that Blooper games were like they're not bad, they're just like fine, they're okay, and even they
Yeah.
themselves like made a comment about that like right before Silent Hill 2 remake dropped, where they were like, look, we realize we've kind of been making shitty games, we want to change that. And so this being the first original release from them
Uh,
since
I
Silent Hill
love how
2.
I love how they say like we know that we're making shitty games, but we want to change that. Like, wait, if you know, then why have you been making shitty games? Like,
I
what do
mean,
you
like,
mean?
well, I mean, it's like learning, right? It's like they're figuring it out.
No, for sure. No, like, just
Yeah,
like the way that you said that. Like, if that is what they said verbatim, that would be fucking
I'm not
funny.
going to say that's verbatim, but it's not off. It's not far off. I'm pretty sure he used the term "we've kind of made shit games." Like there was a line
Yeah.
along those
Well,
lines.
because I played the medium, and I thought that was like solid. I thought it was
Yeah,
like a solid game. Like,
yeah,
but I need to play Silent Hill 2 remake. I do want to play that. And this looks dope.
yeah.
This looks dope. I'm excited for it.
No, I think
Anyway,
this is a potential cool like comeback for them, especially because they're now also we know they're doing a Silent Hill remake of the original game now. So
yes.
this would be a very good like, all right, like put up or shut up. Let's see what's going on.
Yep. Yep. Like, let's make sure that you're not just a remake studio.
Yeah.
Um, Yakuza Kiwami 2 is coming to Switch 2, along with Yakuza Kiwami 1. But Yakuza Kiwami 2 is not coming to Switch 1, which is weird.
Uh, it's not that weird, I think. I
I
mean,
mean, like,
because that was when they moved over to Dragon Engine, so like I'm sure it's a more demanding game than like the Unreal Engine like 0 and Kiwami 1.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's I just think it's I just see those games as a pair because they've been the only two remakes for so long now.
sure. But like
And
there
I know
was
that
a
there is the engine jump, but
yeah,
I just like it's just one of those things where like, oh, okay. Um, but also with Yakuza Zero Director's Cut, like I guess it makes sense because that was also a Switch 2 exclusive. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm no confirmation on Game Key card, but I would expect that to be the case. And no confirmation on a physical for Kiwami 1 either.
Yeah.
So
And then just to highlight real quick, because I was like, I think this is true, but I wanted to double check before saying it. Kiwami 2 is definitely a more demanding game, like not just because of the engine jump, but like the original Kiwami was a PS3 game that got updated to PS4 later, whereas Kiwami 2 was
really,
PS4 from the gate. Yeah, it was only PS3 in Japan. We didn't get the PS3 release here,
okay,
but it did release initially on PS3, cross-platform with PS4. And then when they
okay,
made the Dragon Engine jump, that was like, okay, now we're next gen only, and that was like PS4 and so on and so forth. So yeah,
okay.
like it is a more beautiful, more demanding title, for sure.
Oh yeah, like I'm one of those. I like Kiwami 1 more than most people because Nishiki's my guy,
Yeah,
and I'm so mad that it didn't get the Dragon Engine treatment because it's so good.
yep,
Like Kiwami 2 is so good.
didn't exist yet. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's coming out on November 13th. Goodnight Universe, the new game from the devs behind Before Your Eyes, um, is releasing November 11th on Switch and Switch 2.
yeah. This was during their little montage time where it was just back to back. Like,
Yes.
here's this, here's this, here's this.
Yep. NBA Bounce is coming September 26th to Switch. Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Wheat Flower Wonderland is coming in sometime during the fall for Switch. Romancing Saga 2 is out now on Switch 2. When I saw that, I laughed so hard because one of our patrons, Mitch, just started playing Romance and Saga 2. And I'm sure when he saw that, he was like, damn, I would rather play this on my Switch 2 instead. But yeah, still like very cool. No physical release seemingly for that. Which makes sense considering, Square's not been pro game on cart.
Yeah, has there been any confirmation on if there's an upgrade path for that or not? I know we're like in the middle of like reacting to all this just being announced, but was there any word on like being able to upgrade regular Switch edition to the Switch 2 version?
Not that I have seen. If you want to look that up,
Yeah,
while
I'm
I'm
trying to right now. But I'm seeing a lot of people just talk about like, oh, it's like announced for Switch and it's releasing today, and it's like that's cool. But like, I already have this game for Switch, so is there a way to update?
yeah.
I'll keep looking into it, and I'll bring it back up if I find anything definitive. If you want to move on to
Okay.
the next thing.
Yeah. Next thing, Shinobi: The Art of Vengeance. It's coming out August 29th. That is Switch 1. There's no Switch 2 version. And there's a demo out now. And as I've said before, because I played it at SGF, that game is damn good. And that is a day one game for me. Like that's another game that when it comes out next month, definitely focusing on that. Borderlands 4 coming out to Switch 2 on October 3rd, and it is a game key card release. And now we're going to get into the other two big announcements for the Direct.
Which, before we do, at least according to Gamatsu, there is an upgrade pack for Romancing Saga 2. So
it's paid?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know for how much?
I do not, but if I launch my Switch right now, I bet I can find it.
Okay. Well, if you want to do that, and I'll talk about this new game.
Hit him.
So we got the next game from Team Asano being The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. This is a HD2D game, and it's a real-time action RPG. I wouldn't even actually say it's an RPG. I would say more so it's an action game.
It's an action RPG in the sense that like a lot of SNES era top-down action games got looped in that way. Like the older Mana titles. Even some people would argue that like Link to the Past is an action RPG. The term gets used. You have items and equipment and gear and.
Yeah, but you get that in action games too.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not even like RPG elements in action games is a long like existing thing. At least off the little bit I played, I can kind of see the RPG aspect, but it's very much like older East game action RPG is kind of the energy I'm getting.
Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But it's very much a 2D Zelda cross East game. There's definitely major elements of both franchises in this game. There is a demo out now. I have finished the demo. Kevin has played a portion of it.
I started it basically.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to share my thoughts about that in a second. But it is coming out sometime in 2026. Yeah, again, I played it. I really like this game a lot. It's also like lightly has some well, not really. It's interesting because so basically how the demo starts is you are basically tasked to explore these unexplored ruins by the king of this empire and so you have two primary weapons. You have in this demo you had your sword, you had your bow, and you had bombs. And the combat is, I think in general, my biggest criticism about this demo is that the game is really easy. And there was a difficulty choice between normal and hard when you start up the demo. But even for normal, this game was very, very easy.
Yeah.
And I hope that they make it a bit more difficult down the line. The only time I was even close to death was during the one boss fight at the end of the demo. And even then, that was based on like me fucking up more so than like the actual boss being challenging. But the combat is fun. Like your sword, so your swords have like charge attacks. One thing that's cool is that like you will get like new swords or you'll get new weapons, and seemingly once you get that new sword that is like an obvious upgrade, the other sword's gone. This is just your new sword. So there's a point where you get like a dusk sword, which is like a 2-star sword, and then like your charge attack whole is like stronger than before. Or you can charge it longer, and then because your charge attack also is a projectile, which is very cool. I didn't like the bow. I thought the bow felt bad to use. I didn't think it was super effective, especially when like your sword charge attack is also a projectile and has a like actual area of effect and things like that. It made the bow irrelevant basically instantly for me.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that it introduces from Go is that you have these gems that are basically either buffs or they give your ability a they give your like sword certain abilities. And honestly, that actually might be one of the reasons why my sword was a projectile. I honestly don't remember at this point. But that, you know, those are very cool. Those are things that you can either like find throughout the world, or you go to this this vendor that has like a cat on this like um jug of sorts, and you put these I forgot what they're called, but like they're basically like these like gems that you put into this gourd, and then it poops out a gem for your equipment. And one of the things that's interesting about that as well is that if you get a duplicate of something that you already have, it immediately dismantles it. It disassembles it, and then you get like some of that currency back. So there is a kind of like gotcha system there. But yeah, it's fun. You don't level up. There's no leveling up in this game. And so I'm curious as to like as the game progresses, how you get more currency for your gems, because you because each gem that you get for your equipment has, you have to have a certain amount of free space. And the maximum is 25. So you build up to 25, and that's the cap. Like I want to, you can, even in that hour-long demo, you're able to cap that really quickly. And so I'm wondering how you're going to get that later. I don't know if it's like going to you go to a vendor and you purchase it, or if it's a reward that you get from a chest. But I'm very curious about that.
Yeah.
You can heal yourself using vials, kind of like in Dark Souls, and there are these kind of like campfires, like these checkpoints where the game saves, but it doesn't refill your vials. You have to go to the shop in the city, and you have to purchase to refill your vials. And the thing that's cool about that is that those vials don't have to be used specifically for health. They can be used as like potions to up your attack.
Yeah.
Or up your speed, and I'm like that's really cool.
It's like that. Zelda bottles, right? Like, oh, do you want to have the red potion that heals you, or the blue potion that does this, or like it's that kind of classic feel.
Well, I mean, because again, I'm not super knowledgeable about Zelda. In Zelda, like, do those do you get to keep the vials? Are they empty
Yeah.
bottles?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh
the
yeah, it's like
bottles
Zelda
limit.
then.
Yeah, you find bottles, and it's like a big deal to get another bottle because now it's like, oh, cool, I
Okay.
now
Yeah,
have an
that's the
additional
exact same thing.
potion of some sort. Yeah,
Exact same thing.
yeah,
Yep. Absolutely. Um and there are shrines in this game. You basically go to a shrine. I think there's 3 or 4 in this demo. You do a challenge like you do in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, and once you finish it, you get a health upgrade. At least so far, that's
yeah.
all of the rewards were a health upgrade. Um and so yeah, and then you run into some caves. In one of the caves, I got a quiver, which I believe upped my ammo capacity for my bow. Um, Again, I got a sword upgrade. Um, yeah, it's really fun. It's really good. One of the things that's frustrating as well is that so in this game you have a fairy companion, and your fairy companion allows you to do certain things traversal wise. So like if you want to sprint, you have to use your fairy. But your fairy that ability has like a cooldown.
Yeah.
Um and
And
then you
worth noting that dash is very just aggressive. It's not just like, oh, you move
yes.
faster. It's like, oh no, you are running straight ahead. You can turn, but you can also like smack into things and just stop right there. It's like a
Yeah.
charge, not really a run.
And I think that's there's a charm to that
There is.
that I like.
I I actually really like the weird physics in this game because
Yeah.
again, I only played for like a 10 seconds, but my opening experience was like the initial setup and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know this really experienced adventurer. He'll help us out." And then me standing in like the throne room with the king, just start hitting buttons to see what they all do, and then I put a bomb directly in front of myself. It explodes,
Yes.
and I go
Yes.
flying into a wall nearby. And I love that physics. Like
Yes.
this idiot right here, just like, oh, I know an adventure. He can help us out. As I proceed to then blow myself up, but I like it. I think it's like a charming little reactivity.
There were definitely a few times where I accidentally dropped bombs, and I was just like, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that."
They explode very quickly. Like compared to like Zelda bombs, like they go off
Mm.
quick.
The explosion looks really good though. Like that was one of the few visual details that I really was impressed with. I was like, wow, that looked so good. Um and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's worth mentioning. Oh yeah, talking about the fairy abilities. She also has a warp ability where basically you use the R stick to move her manually. If not, she just kind of follows you. And you use the warp ability to teleport to wherever she is, so you cross gaps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
um but you have to change that ability through a shortcut wheel, among other different things too, like your if you want to change your weapons, and and a few other things like that got tiring fast because there are certain parts in the game where you're kind of consistently wanting, because like naturally you're gonna want your sprint on when you're not doing certain puzzles,
Right.
but then there are gonna be certain points in the game or in this demo where I was just like, oh, I gotta switch to the warp, and then I gotta switch back to the sprint. Okay, now I gotta switch back to the warp, and like, because Elliot is slow enough where it's just like I want the sprint accessible to me.
Yeah. I
uh
the little bit I played, I saw the first shop sold an accessory that increased the damage you take, but also increases your movement speed by 20%. I was like, insta buy. I do not like the move speed so far.
yeah, part of me wishes I did that. And as well as like again, you have these puzzles with the bombs. I mean, like at a certain point, I just kept my bombs on all the time. Like I don't need a bow, I just
Yeah.
don't. So that was a little less of an issue. But like it's all like under the same menu, so you press like ZR, so like right bumper or right trigger, and then it's like tabs. So you have like, oh, here's your weapons, here's your fairy. Like it's just like this is basically just going through the normal menu to do all this, and I wish that there were like quicker ways, especially for like the fairy stuff. Like I wish that I could just press left on the D-pad.
Mhm.
and left and right on the D-pad and like just cycle through them. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think an important thing to highlight with this one is that like uh, so this is not like a release demo where like the game's coming out in a month and like this is what it is. This
Yeah.
is similar to something that Square Enix has done with a couple releases, like the original Bravely Default and Triangle Strategy, where or not Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, where they're basically like, hey, this game's coming out in like a year and some change. Tell us what you think right now. Like there's straight up a survey that you will be like directed to when you finish this game, this demo. That's like, hey, like let us know what you think. Like what's going on with this? What bothered you? What did you want different? And that is they do react to that. I don't remember the specifics off the top of my head right now, but I distinctly recall that when Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy came out, there were adjustments made to the demo based on feedback. That was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad they updated this. Um, so even more reason to be like, oh, this game's kind of neat, but here's all the stuff that bothers me, whether it's the movement speed or the menu system or the difficulty curve. Like, hey, please fix this and let them know
Yeah.
now, because like I really like the basic concept of this game. So it'd be cool if it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of this game is probably done right. Like we got like there were voices for the cast,
Yeah,
like I think like the base work is definitely there. I think that this is just going to be more like, hey, like what are some tweaks that we can make to make this minute to minute experience better?
for sure.
And so yeah, I agree with you
Uh,
there.
Couple quick notes on this game too. I haven't finished the demo yet, but there is a credit reel for it that one
Uh,
of our patrons, Mitch, posted in the chat. So this is coming from Creative Unit 5, which I don't actually know what else 5 has released just yet, like since the reorganization into this style, because they used to be the business dev whatever number, and now they changed
business
over to
unit,
creative.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think this might be the first official game released by Creative Unit 5, unless there's just something I missed. The producer on this one did work on producing the Bravely Default remaster. Um, and this is also in collaboration with I need to double check their name real quick. Claytech Works, Claywork Tech. What is it? Yeah, Claytech Work, which I don't know everything they've worked on, but the top of my head thing is I know that this is the team that Bravely Default 2 was outsourced to, which gives me slightly mixed feelings because I did not love how Bravely Default 2 was handled versus the first two games, which is weird to say because it's called 2. But yeah, I'm curious to see more of like what the full title looks like, and hopefully it gets the right tweaks from this demo.
Yeah. And I actually there were two statements made, one by Asano and then one by the producer that I wanted to read off really quick. So producer Naofumi Matsushita said, quote, I hope that everyone, including all the fans of Team Asano's previous games, can play the debut demo and experience for themselves what our first foray into the action genre looks like. We've pulled out all the stops to create an epic experience as Elliot travels through 1,000 years of history in an adventure that can be enjoyed by all. Look forward to great things. End quote. Yeah, so like this demo ends with like what you see in the trailer. There's like this time gate that it basically looks like, and you go through the time gate, and that's how the demo ends. And that is like the aspect of this that I'm really interested in, because I did get Chrono Trigger vibes. I like
Hmm.
from that trailer. I was just like, oh, we're getting some time travel going. Like, I want to see what this is about. Chrono Trigger here. But yeah, and then Asano made a statement saying, "quote I'm very pleased to announce the Adventures of Elliot: The Millennium Tales, the first action RPG in the HD2D series. It features simple and easy to understand gameplay, yet offers a deeply satisfying and challenging experience. As the HD2D series has expanded and evolved, we've gradually shifted genres. We started with a classic RPG with Octopath Traveler, and we went to do a strategy game with Triangle Strategy. When we thought about where to go next, we felt that challenging ourselves to an action RPG would be a good direction. It goes without saying that we want to deliver this game to all the people who enjoyed the games that we have made previously, Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy, etc. But I'd be delighted if I could reach out to a new audience of gamers as well. End quote. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
No, that was even one of my reactions to it was like, oh, it's cool to see that they're embracing other genres with HD2D. Because like
Hmm.
Tactics RPG was a nice change of pace as well, but it feels a little bit in step with like it's still a turn-based RPG. It's different because there's like movement and a grid and stuff, but it's still like a turn-based kind of thing. So them trying action, I think, is a really interesting change up.
I like how they have a better naming convention this time around,
It's not Project
right?
something. Well,
It's
I
not.
know everyone was a little worried when the first text that came on screen was like the name of the town, and it was like Philadelphia or something, and people were like, "Is that the name of the game? Like, is that what's happening right now?" It's like, no, 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 no. That's called Adventures of Elliot. We're good. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I saw someone on Blue Sky tweet like, um, oh, what was it? Oh, let me find it really quick. What job are you uh what job are you extremely unlikely to ever get that you think you would kick ass at? And then someone quote tweeted saying like naming Square Enix game. I was like, that's so fucking funny. Oh gosh.
Before moving on to the other Square Enix
Yeah.
announcement, I do want to go back to Romancing Saga 2 real quick. I did
Hmm.
confirm in the eShop right now, $10 upgrade if you have the Switch 1 version. It also looks like the digital, just outright buying it version is on sale right now. It's listed MSRP 50, but you can buy it for 35. So, worth knowing.
Yeah, and so that's something that I wanted to talk about before we get into the last game. Is this whole upgrade path stuff.
Yeah.
I've come to notice that the games that get free updates are the ones that aren't getting physical Switch 2 releases. And like the thing that like the thing of why that is interesting to me is that like, we talked about how Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are you can't there's no upgrade path.
Yeah.
You either buy the Switch 1 version or you buy the Switch 2 version. But then there's Final Fantasy Tactics where it's the Switch 1 version with a free update and there's no Switch 2 version. And I'm wondering if that is on purpose in a way where like for some reason Nintendo isn't allowing like devs, publishers to release a game with a physical Switch or Switch 2 version. Um if they like are doing a free update, if that makes sense.
Sure. Because they're treating it
And
as like just an upgrade path kind of thing. Which, like, I mean, because Nintendo's doing that too, right? Like, there were free
yeah,
updates for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but they didn't do like a Switch 2 re release physically. They were just like, hey,
yeah.
like, free update, just launch the game. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like they have to do that, like that it's an like particularly an expectation as a consumer for me, but it's also just kind of weird to me where it's just like, yeah, like let just people buy the Switch 2 version, especially like from a monetary standpoint where like most people are not going to know that there's a free update. That like, so it's like why not just resell these games as a Switch 2 version and it has like whatever the free update is like on the cart
It
from Go?
well, it might be that when you launch it on a Switch 2, it automatically forces like, hey, like you're using this on a Switch 2, you have to get the Switch 2 update. Because that was an issue some preservation people had with Switch 1 versions of games. If you use like Scarvi on a Switch 2, you can't run the Switch 1 version. Like you have to do the Switch 2 update and run that way, which then limits your ways to play the game offline because it's not running off the card. It requires you to check in that like you're playing this digital update version of a title.
Is that the case for like but that's not the case for all
If it's a
Switch 2 like
if that's a
paid up?
free update, that has been the situation thus far that I have seen at least.
Oh, if it's
But
a free update. Okay.
it's a free update. Yeah, if it's a paid
Okay,
for
okay.
update, you can run the Switch 1 version. But if it's a free update, it's like, hey, you have to be running the Switch 2 version of this. Like just like update right now.
I mean, I don't think that's a problem. Why is that a problem?
Because if you're not connected to the internet or anything that would restrict your access to your digital library, it would impact it, even though you have a physical card.
Uh, it's like that first instance of playing the game on a Switch 2, like
Well,
if you don't
anytime
have internet.
it's counting it as a digital like version, yeah. So if you're using it on like a secondary system where you have to
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah,
connection to
yeah.
internet, that runs into an
Okay.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those things where we've seen enough examples now where it's just like compare and contrast, where it's just like this is odd to me. Like not particularly a bad thing, but it's just odd.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the big thing for me more than anything is that like the consistency, right? Like it's
yeah,
so all over the place which games are getting physical, which ones are not, which games are game key card, although right now it's basically everything except for a handful of non first party titles. Uh
yeah,
and first party themselves. Like DK like Donkey Kong Bonanza is on cart, so is Mario Kart World, like great for those. But there has not been a great consistent set of rules. I think we talked about this last week or the week before, where it's like even looking at Square Enix, right? It's like, oh, free update for Final Fantasy Tactics, but then there's no upgrade path for Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and you can't even like move save files over. I think East for the re-release of Nordics, there's even a thing about how like you can't you can upload clear save file data, but not like regular save. Like there's all these just
yeah,
weird specific restrictions with Switch 1 versus Switch 2, and what you can upgrade, what you can't upgrade. And it's such a like we pay attention to this stuff and we're still like, I don't know what the trend is. Like I don't know what the consistent rule of thumb is because there hasn't really been one. And that's annoying.
yeah. It just seems that like Switch 1 games with a free update aren't getting like physical Switch 2 versions, even if it's a
Yeah.
game key card. Like to me, that is weird.
Hmm.
Um, not particularly bad because again, like as Switch at least Switch 1 games, you're getting the physical game like most of the time. Like I'm not worried about that. But like it's still weird. And I'm just curious about like if that's a Nintendo thing, being like, hey, y'all can't do this if you do this, like that kind of thing,
Sure.
or if it's more of just like a tech thing that they're just deciding up, yeah, we're not because like why because why isn't there a uh like I guess I'm not trying to stay on this for so long, but like what is the difference between my thought process is that whatever this free update is for Final Fantasy Tactics
Hmm.
is the same differentiating point of like whatever a hypothetical free update would be from like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on Switch to Switch 2. Like what what is you know what
I
I mean?
yeah, I have to wonder if in some cases if it has to do with like the base level game where like for instance maybe Final Fantasy Tactics the only difference is like the frame rate is uncapped and maybe it upscales the resolution, whereas another game might be like, oh, there's literally different texture files that are being loaded for this Switch 2 version because it's actually running like native 4K textures in docked mode, and there's
Maybe,
other like
maybe.
Switch 2 unique things where like this is a more purpose-built Switch 2 version, whereas the other is more like, yeah, it's a Switch 2 version, but like again, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's updating to an actual brand new built fresh version of the game. It's just making
Yeah.
so that it leverages the Switch 2 power to like
It's a
actually run
massive
well.
patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a massive patch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know though. Like it again, the sense of consistency has been really freaking off. So,
No, for sure.
yeah.
Um last game, Octopath Traveler 0. So there was a lot of confusion and like assumptions about when this what this game was when it was announced because it gives a lot of vibes of a mobile game, and so a lot of people thought that this was a remake of the mobile title Champions of the Continent, I believe is the
Yes.
title of it.
Which is not
And
completely inaccurate.
it's not
But
completely
it's
inaccurate,
not
but it
accurate
is
either.
ultimately wrong. um, it has elements of that. It is a prequel to the original Octopath Traveler. There are some very notable things to that's worth mentioning. Uh, The main character is customizable. You name your main character. They didn't show a character creator, but at the very least, you
I think they did for
name
like a
the
split
character.
second, but it wasn't like a
Oh,
very
okay.
interesting screen. It was like which hairstyle do you want or something. Like it was
Oh,
a
okay,
very
okay, okay.
quick,
I
like
did not see that. I did not
yeah,
see that.
it's like one frame. It wasn't a lot to go off of.
Okay. Um, the party consists of 8 characters now instead of 4, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, I love it.
Uh,
I love it. That was like one of the best parts of Champions of the Continent that I wanted them to do in 2, and they didn't. Jerks.
I didn't play Champions of the Continent, and also, I mean, I've talked about it before, but the big reason why I stopped playing Octopath Traveler 2 is because the battles were too long. Now I'm wondering, like, hey, does having 8 characters cut that in half, or did they like adapt it so that it's equally as long with even more party members?
It's usually faster because the way it works is it's really what it is 2 parties of 4 that you tag in and out if it's working the same as Champions of the Continent. So it's like,
They were in rows,
yes,
so maybe.
yeah. So it looks like so. Yeah, the main idea here is that this is effectively, it is not a remake of Champions of the Continent, but it is reworking Champions of the Continent style stuff into a single player game. And so one of the things of that combat system is that you have your 2 parties of 4 that you tag in and tag out, and the back row is able to do things like save up their brave points or whatever the term was in Octopath, and that way you can like switch them in and suddenly like unleash all hell on enemies. Generally speaking, I felt like it was a little faster, given mobile games are just balanced differently anyways. Like it just is a different vibe. So how that translates into a purpose-built single-player version, I don't know. But I would imagine it would actually be faster, not slower, is my assumption. We will find out.
I mean, I hope you're right. I still need to go back and finish Octopath Traveler 2. And that was another thing that was interesting too, is that a lot of Octopath hate on the TL. A lot of Octopath hate on the TL today. And you know, obviously I'm more honed in on in the genre, but like I know people that adored Octopath Traveler 2 and
Mhm.
like thought it was low key game of the year contender of the year it came out. But just not enough people played it.
Right.
And so I saw some people like throwing shade on Octopath, and then like people being pissed off that people were throwing shade at Octopath. It was like, geez, there was some passion. There was
Yeah.
some passion. But anyway, the Switch 2 release for this game is a game key card, but it is coming to Switch as well, so not all is lost. There will not be an upgrade path. You will have to buy them separately, similar to Dragon Quest 1 and 2. There is a collector's edition on the Square Enix store right now, for a measly $229. You get the
Plus
game.
shipping.
Yeah, plus shipping. You get the game, the Orstera Continent gaming mat, which is pretty cool. A CD arrangement, playing cards, Ring of the Flamebringer. Like, why are you gonna give us an item about a game that we don't even know the story? I don't. Anyway.
I mean, that's pretty common. That's not like, hold on, like that's not that unheard of a thing in a collector's edition. Like, yeah, I haven't played like that's true of any collector's edition you pre-order. Yeah, I don't know the story yet. Like, and we kind of do because it is a rework of Champions of the Continent. So
I like I might maybe it's me ignore. I don't know if I agree with that. Yes, I do.
like, what is
I get what
what
you're
is the
saying. I get what
monument
you're
in
saying.
Expedition 33 if you haven't played Expedition 33 yet? Like, what other than like here's the main character in a stance? Like, what collector item could you make that isn't?
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I just think that this is just like, I don't know. This one in particular comes out as random to me. You get this is really cool. 8-sided dice of wealth, power, and fame. So you get like 3 unique 8-sided dice. The Triangle Strategy Collector's Edition came with a 6 dice set of D6s, and I still use that regularly when I play Magic.
Oh, those are real
And
metal dice
D&D.
too. They are nice.
They're really good dice. Really good dice. And then you also get the digital deluxe upgrade, which includes 3 action skills, consumable items, digital art book, and festive decoration designs, because you basically are rebuilding your home in this game. And there's like just different items that you can use. I'm passing on this one, but
I'm not gonna lie, I'm tempted, but that price point is too rich for my blood.
really, you're tempted on this one.
I'm
Okay.
tempted. Oh no, I'm tempted. Well, because okay, the metal dice immediately are like that's a very
Yeah.
specific thing for me.
Listen,
I think the ring
I
is
have.
cool. I like the playing cards. It's like it's stuff that I like in collector's editions. Like we talked about this. I don't like statues or pieces of paper. I'm like, give me functional things. So I'm like, oh, actual playing cards, actual dice. The ring is like wearable potentially. Like that's all stuff that calls to me a lot more. Like the only thing I don't really care about is like, oh, there's a physical soundtrack. Cool. That'll go on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm just thinking like for me, I want the dice. Like the dice is like the thing that's calling me, but I'm like, I'm not spending 229 for
Oh yeah, again,
really the game and dice.
yeah. No, the price point is what like is getting me out of this.
Mhm.
I think this stuff is cool, but that's too rich for my blood. Who knows? We'll see if my willpower gives in as a little time passes and if it doesn't sell out right away.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's coming to everything, so hopefully, for those that want the collector's edition, they can get it. Um, but yeah. Um, I just got some games that I really need to beat. I need to go back. I'm never gonna finish Octopath Traveler 1. I'm just not, guys. Like that game is like the most nothing burger of a game for me. Like 7 out of 10, like derogatory. I don't know how to explain I don't know how to explain it.
No, there's a difference between so yeah, no, there's 7 out of 10, like, yeah, this game is fine. There's 7 out of 10, oh, this game has problems, but is also really cool for other reasons. And yeah,
Yeah.
like original Octopath Traveler is very much like yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Um, but 2, I need to get back to. I enjoyed it. I just need to get over how lengthy those battles are for me.
It
Um,
it speeds up. It's faster than 1, in my opinion. Like I definitely felt them go by faster in 2.
really, I
Oh
did not.
yeah.
I did not feel that way.
You got to be min-maxing more, my friend.
I don't think that was the issue. I don't think that was the issue. I was like 6. 6 characters. I got like 5 or 6 characters at that point. But that's it, everybody. That was the partner showcase direct. Um, there was one thing I wanted to talk about before we leave, because I forgot to mention it in the beginning. So last night, I was like, I think I'm gonna do the whole 3DS cart stuff and just like make sure all my carts work. But the thing is that most of my 3DS collection is still sealed, and I don't want to open them until I actually play those games.
I mean,
You
you
know
do
what I
you.
mean?
I don't, but you do you, buddy. Like I don't like you're going to play them. Like if you were holding on to them with like the thought of maybe reselling or something, sure, fine,
No,
keep them
no,
sealed.
no.
But
That's
no,
it's
if the
not. It's
goal
not
is to
that.
play them, then why just open it?
I'm just
Just
my
open it.
thought process is just like so left field. We're just like, yeah, but what if something like happens to me, and then like, oh, these are worth more to like my mom, who can like resell these and like actually, and get
Sure.
and profit off the money. Like,
Yeah,
you know
but
what I
like
mean? Like,
yeah, but
those are
like
the things that
but like basing your day-to-day living off of
I
extreme what if scenarios is not what you
I
should be doing.
know, but that's just how I think, and so it's just like, oh
And look,
man,
let's be real. Unless you like leave very dedicated instructions, those 3DS games would be sold at a lot for like not their actual value.
yeah, that's no that's fair too. But yeah, so because I opened the oldest game that I own, which is the original Theorhythm Final Fantasy 2012 game.
That's the
2012
oldest game
game,
you own?
everybody, on the
Oh, on
3DS.
the 3DS. Okay, sorry. The way you worded that, I was like, what?
No, absolutely not. Um, no, for 3DS. So I opened that up and I tested that one, and when I put it in for a second, nothing. And I was like, no fucking way already. No fucking way already. But then it ended up popping up like, oh, thank God. Okay, cool. So my oldest game works. So like, do I need to open all these other ones? Like, you know what I mean? But I also heard that like some of them, a lot of the situation, not a lot of the situation, but like a notable amount of the situation revolves around specific games. Like
Yes.
Persona Q is one of them, which I need to do. Uh, Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I had Alpha Sapphire. I sold it because I was disappointed in it after I beat it. But then I rebought it because I'm just like I want to I want to replay through all of them. I want to like do a series playthrough eventually, and I need at least one of them to get that stuff. To get all the stuff. And so I rebought Alpha Sapphire, so that's sealed. I'm like, okay, I should open that. But still, in general, I'm just like, oh god, there's like, I don't want to open these. I don't want to open these. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but
Yeah, it's you're just gonna have to contend with your own brain on that one.
yeah. So all your 3DS games are
Open?
open?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
I don't know if you
immediately.
bought in some games previously that you just haven't played yet, so you haven't opened them.
I pretty much instantly open. Even like every game I own, I at least boot up at some point, like right away.
Damn.
I
I
at
have
no point.
so many. I have so many sealed Switch games, Kevin. I have so
Like I'm
many
not gonna
sealed
lie,
Switch
I
games.
probably have like a sealed Switch game somewhere, but like that's not. I open my games like instantly.
I should probably do that, but I do not. I do not. So
Hey man, live your life. You do you.
anyway, that's it for this week's episode. Kevin, do you have anything for the people before we dip out?
Uh, that direct sure was a-okay. And if you play the Elliot demo, please actually give your survey feedback because that will help make it a better game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, you can follow me over on socials at Camp Final Mix. You can follow Kevin over on socials at Kevin Kenson. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Later.